Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. I hope you guys are all doing well out there. I hope you had a good weekend, y'all. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to every single last one of y'all. And thank you so much for coming in and being a part of the conversation today. We got some things to talk about. It looks like we're going back to this thing again, which is ridiculous in my personal opinion, but we have to get into this conversation. I'll explain why I say ridiculous in just a little bit. But before we get into everything, of course, there's some other things that are going on around the rest of the world. There was a huge, massive tragedy that happened in Turkey. Of course, there were two separate earthquakes that happened in Turkey. Of course, I wanted to send my thoughts, my prayers out to the people of Turkey. And if I'm correct, Syria as well. And it's just absolutely horrendous. The numbers of losses have just keep piling up, getting higher and higher and higher. And of course, last night there was an earthquake, and then there was another one just a little bit after that. So it's just absolutely insane. Of course, that's something I wanted to chop up with you guys about, because there are other things going on around the world other than just the Idaho 4 tragedy. So we will be talking about that briefly here in a second, okay? But the thing is there's a lot going on around this particular case. Now we have family that are starting to speak out and say some things, which it was inevitable. Let's keep it real. It was absolutely inevitable. All right. But before we get into all my thoughts and my opinions, and of course we get into this conversation, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below as you guys start to file in. Please send those past 300 likes, okay, as you guys start to file in. That would really, really mean a lot. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful, positive, and prosperous weekend. Okay, I don't know about you, but mine was action-packed and extremely busy, okay? But got a lot of things done, which is always a good thing. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Crush it, crush it, crush it. That would really, really mean a lot, okay? And it would be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family, okay? But anyway, we got to get into some things because unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for a long show, but we're here for an informative one nonetheless, okay? And of course, there are some things that are going on that are just some quick things that I wanted to bring up with you guys real quick. Because it is obviously just terrible. Okay. Oops. There we go. So let me get into this really, really quick as you guys start to come in. So just some information of things that are going on around the world. And I would have done this in a second video, but today's a little bit busy. I'm going to see what I can do with some other stories later on today. But I just wanted to show you guys what's going on in the rest of the world, aside from the Idaho 4 tragedy, Tyree Nichols, even people going crazy and talking about the Grammys like crazy right now. This happened while I was watching the Grammys last night. And yes, I watched the Grammys. I literally sat down and watched it. I don't know why I did, but I did, okay? So, powerful earthquake takes thousands of lives in Turkey and in Syria, okay? More than 2,000 people have lost their lives, and 1,000 more have been injured after a powerful magnitude of 7.8 earthquake struck Turkey and Syria early Monday. Officials continue to update the toll as rescue efforts continued. The quake, one of the strongest to hit the region in more than 100 years, struck 14.2 miles, okay, east of Nurdagi, okay, in Turkey's province at a depth of 14.9 miles And the U.S. Geological Survey said, this is what they said here. And that's insane. Okay. So, of course, multiple strong aftershocks have been felt across the region for hours after the first quake, including a severe quake measuring a magnitude of 7.5. That's insane. Okay. Turkey's disaster agency appealed for help from the international community as it conducts search and rescue operations. And one thing that's really interesting, like I said, I'm just tapping on this briefly because obviously this is still ongoing. This is still this is still information that's still going on right now as we speak. But one thing is that there are people showing streaming stuck underneath their homes under debris from what was the remnants of their homes, begging and asking and pleading for help. There are people still stuck under just rubble from what used to be their homes. So hopefully there are more saved lives than there are casualties. Obviously, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Turkey and Syria because obviously this is a serious situation. It's terrifying to think that this is actually a real thing. But hey, guys, this really happened. This really happened last night, or for Turkey, early Monday morning. So again, thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Turkey and Syria. I'm hoping that they find more people. Obviously, people are coming together, working diligently, trying to rescue as many people as they can, which is an amazing thing. I got to be honest; it's pretty amazing to see what the human spirit really can do when they push all their differences aside and they just put their efforts together to save lives. But there are people still stuck under rubble. I'm not kidding. There are videos out here of people filming themselves stuck under rubble. Hold on, let me show you what I mean, because this is a real deal. This is the real deal. 1 second. It's some scary stuff, y'all. Hold on, guys. Let me pull this video up so you guys can see. And of course, we will be getting to our main conversation here, but nonetheless, this is information that I think we all should see. Now, from what I'm seeing here, let me just show you the tweet here. Well, it says a young Turkish man speaks from under the house that will fall as a result of the earthquake. So he says, we are fine. There are many of us and on the other floors waiting for relief. And this is insane. So let me show you guys this video. This is just crazy.
Annemin durumu iyi.
Hold on 1 second, guys. I know this isn't the main conversation, but this is a conversation nonetheless that we need to have. So let me share this with you guys real quick so you guys can see this. But this is a man stuck filming. Okay. Shoot, hold up. Let's try that again. Boom. Let's see this here. Hit the number 1. Let me know if you guys can hear this, okay?
Annemin durumu iyi. Malatya Zaviye Mahallesi. Ebe sokakta mı? Ede mi? Ege mi? Aslanlar sesi karşısı. Efuz apartmanı. 2. kattaydık. Dayımın sesi çok iyi gelmiyor. Lütfen bu WhatsApp durum anne. Bu gören herkes lütfen gelsin yardıma. Şu an herkes lütfen yardıma gelsin.
So as you can see there, that is a young man, and I mean, obviously I don't speak his language, but clearly he's obviously trying to say, like, I'm trying to reach out, trying to find some help. But then at the same time, it's almost like he's trying to speak to his loved ones to make sure that they're okay as well. But that man is under debris right now, or at least during the filming of this. And lucky for them, thank God that they were found, that he's okay, right? That nothing drastically terrible happens. But at the same time, you have to be careful about moving stuff around, right? When they go and dig through the debris, some of that rubble could collapse and, crush somebody, that kind of thing. So obviously, this is a terrifying situation, a terrifying thing that's going on in another corner of the world. And I just wanted to share that with you guys so that you guys know exactly what the heck is going on, because this is a real thing. It's really happening right now as we speak. The people of Turkey and Syria are in dire straits right now. Of course, people are coming together to dig people out of holes, literally pulling them out of debris, etc. It says something really amazing about the human condition and what people really can do when, of course, when a tragedy happens. They set all differences aside and they just pull together and try to save as many lives as possible. So I hope we have more lives saved than lives lost in this tragedy. But if you look up online, if you just go through Twitter, the footage that has been displayed out there is absolutely mind-blowing and terrifying to think about, to even witness in video. So imagine witnessing that in real life. That's just absolutely terrifying. Okay. Real quick, Judy Barton, thank you so much for being a member for the past 4 months. She just did a members chat. She said, I finally caught you live. Terrible day today. Sending prayers for Turkey and Syria. Sending greetings from the Czech Republic. Well, thank you. One from the Czech Republic. What's up, Judy? Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much for just supporting and being a part of the Pascal Show family membership as well. And then Andrea, thank you so much for the 250 euros. I appreciate that. Greetings from Germany. Thank you so much. Greetings from Germany. Guten Morgen, right? Isn't that how you say that in German? I know a few things from time to time, right? But the thing is obviously you guys are all here for the main conversation. I just obviously wanted to give you guys a little bit of information on what's been going on in other parts of the world, some international news before we jump into this thing, because we have talked about this to exhaustion. Okay. And this is the reason why I say it's ridiculous, because I know how a lot of people feel. Okay. People are, of course, getting very upset. Okay. When talking about this Idaho 4 tragedy, especially when we start talking about Dylan or DM, however you want to name her, people are feeling some type of way about this. Totally understandable. Okay. I totally understand. No shade being thrown at all in this corner of my world. Okay. None whatsoever. But now we have other things that are going on. Now we have other questions, right? Now, you see the title down below, so you already know what you're walking into. That's why you clicked on it. That's why you came in here to talk about this, right? But the thing is that I look at this and I go, well, duh. Let me explain. Let's look at this title real quick. Let's take a look at this, okay? We see this as a family, right? You see the title. Family of Idaho tragedy victim Ethan Chapin questions why surviving roommate DM didn't call the cops after hearing crying and screaming, because apparently that's some new information as well, and claims she called all the girls in the house rather than 911. Okay, now let me just say this really quick. Duh! Every family member, it's not only going to be Ethan Chapin, it's going to be Xana's family, it's going to be Kaylee's family, it's going to be Maddie's family, it's going to be Xana's, it's going to be everybody who is involved in this, every parent that's involved in this tragedy. They're all going through the same thing. They all have the same questions. Of course, one of his family members, and by the way, it's one of his family members. It's not even his dad. It's not his mom. It's his auntie. It's his sister-in-law. Okay? Or his aunt. Okay? So to me, it's like, because that doesn't make sense. Ethan's sister-in-law. That doesn't make sense to me, personally. But, hold on. But obviously, there's going to be questions here. Clearly, there are going to be people asking, parents are going to be wondering what the heck is going on. They have all this time. They've had all this time since the moment of the tragedy up until now to question every possibility under the sun. You don't think that they've already asked and wondered the same thing? Now, of course, we all ask the same thing. It doesn't make sense, right? We have to play both sides of the fence. I mean, I understand that there's people out here that are going, "Oh, I can't believe that, I can't believe that people are even asking that question," so on and so forth. Listen, I get how you feel, but at the same time, when you listen and hear these stories, you hear or read the probable cause affidavit, you see all those things laid out in front of you. It Any person who's thinking of this in a critical manner, not just taking it at face value, but is actually looking at this and thinking about this critically, is going to literally look at this and go, "Wait, that math ain't mathing though. Wait, why? Why so long?" You're going to instantly ask that question, guys. So I know a lot of people get really bent out of shape, like, "Oh, leave this girl alone," so on and so forth. The only pushback I say is, "Hey, I get it. We're not in her shoes. We do not know her life. We don't know how anyone would react to this situation." Sure. But at the same time, when you look at the timeline, you can't help but ask the doggone question. It's inevitable. And it's not trying to throw her under the bus or make her look like a bad person or anything like that. Not at all. It's just it's inevitable that you're going to ask that question. It's inevitable. If any person sat there and was like, gave you some details of their day, but then there was a big chunk of it missing, and you're going, "Wait a second. So from 12 to 6, you did nothing? What happened for those 6 hours then?" Right? When somebody's telling you their whole day or whatever, you're like, "Wait a second. What, you went to sleep? What did you do? Like, what did you do during that time? How did you get from, coming home from school to this ultimate moment," right? Let's just say, for example, instantly any person is going to sit there critically and go, "The math ain't math in here." So for me, when I hear, "Oh, family member asking this question," okay, sure. Because everybody's asking the same doggone question. And if this family member, right, is in this, clearly they're and into this story, they're clearly doing their research, asking those questions, reading all the people's comments on the social medias, listening to other commentators about this as well. And as they hear about these stories, from everything from fabricated BS to things that were given by police that are actually facts, right? And the probable cause affidavit, you're going to read those things and you're going to start asking questions. Instantly. Instantly. Now, I'm going to say this again. Just because there are people out here asking these questions does not automatically mean that people are suspecting foul play or trying to make it seem like she's the bad guy. Now, I know that there's some extreme content creators out there and extreme reporters out there, whatever. Content creators can span from blogs all the way to video form, right? Plenty of them are out here saying all kinds of out of left field type stuff, just crazy stuff, to the point they're saying they're aliens, something crazy like that, right? I'm not talking about that left field stuff. I'm talking about the people who are looking at this in a logical way and asking logical questions. Like, why did it take you 6+ hours to call 911? Why call all the friends? Like, I get calling the girls in the house first part. I get that. But we also heard other stories about possible phone calls from other sorority members and all that stuff before a 911 call was actually made. Right? So when you see and hear those things and you read all those things out, you go, "Hey, Instantly, it's easy for us to sit there and assume the worst. But also, most importantly, the common denominator is people are looking at this and they're asking questions, and they're logical questions, y'all. The out of left field stuff, like, that we have no proof of, like them saying, "Oh, it was a trap house," and they were pushing, weight out there, and they were doing this, that, and the third, right? We have no proof of that yet. We heard that in an interview. And no disrespect to the interview. None. Okay? That's information. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I still have yet to hear if that person in those phone calls are actually real, or if it has been debunked or anything of that sort. I've kind of let that be what it is, and I just put it on the side, right? But that theory of it being a trap house has been running rampant out here in these streets for a good minute now. All right. And yet I have yet to hear anything confirming those theories. So I just leave it on the side. Let's push it over to the side and just let it be what it is. But when you look at the probable cause affidavit, it says exactly why everyone's asking this question about DM. And I say ridiculous because it's still ongoing. The reason why I say that is because we're never going to know. We're never going to know, y'all. We're never going to know. Come on, man. We ain't going to know until she takes the stand. And that's if she even takes the stand, y'all. That's even if she takes the stand. And then even so, when she goes up there and does her thing, is it really going to just unfold everything and explain everything, the 7 hours and all that stuff, or the 6 to 8, whatever hours that it took for her to actually call 911? Like I said, the thing is what's frustrating about this is the speculation side of things has just gone wild on this whole case for a long, long time. Okay. But I do expect, I don't see anything wrong with people asking this question. I don't see anything wrong with people. I don't understand why people are getting, I do understand why people are getting, bent out of shape and all that. But when you look at the probable cause affidavit, you look at that and you go, wait a second, that makes no sense. Please make that make sense for me. That's it. And it's one of those big questions we still do not have. Then also on top of that, we still haven't heard anything from Bethany. Zero. We put all this focus on DM, but what about BF? What about Bethany? She was there too. But even in the probable cause affidavit, there's barely anything said about her. So, like I said, there's a lot that I'm still wondering. There's a lot of holes, timeline wise, not a reasonable doubt wise. I'm talking about just within the timeline that still needs some filling. They need to fill those things up. They need to add some breadcrumbs to that timeline so that we can understand a little bit more. But it is very frustrating that people go straight into, they turn into guard dogs. And it's kind of like, well, wait a second. I get you protecting her. That's fine, right? Let her go into court and actually do this thing, right? Actually talk about this. Talk about bushy eyebrows and whatnot, right? Let her do her thing. But also let us get full transparency or full clarity on this timeline. We're going to get into this article here really quick. Emily Biz, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to becoming a family member. I appreciate you. And just like Emily Biz, you can hit that join button down below and join the family. Support this channel if you enjoy what I've been doing here. I really do appreciate it. All right. Open eyes, open wide. Shoot. Eyes wide open. My Lord. It's a Monday, okay? Thank you so much for the 5. Weird if she was the same one who all of a sudden fainted outside the house as they initially reported. Exactly. And that's the other part, too. We hear other different things. We've been hearing so many different things that I don't even know which way is up anymore with this case, okay? Especially when it comes to her side of this story, right? It makes you wonder how often or how much was the narrative, her narrative, changed, and that's what's frustrating about this. Okay, so let's get into some of this article. Okay, so a family member of the University of Idaho of Ethan Chapin has questioned why the roommate who survived the slangs didn't call the police. An account believed to belong. See, that's the thing, and I'm still wondering if this is really who this is. Okay, but believed to belong to Ethan's sister-in-law made several posts online before the arrest affidavit was unsealed for the suspected monster BK. All right. The court document detailed how surviving roommate DM came face to face with a masked man on the night of the tragedies. Ethan 20, we already now know about the 4, okay? His sister-in-law has since revealed that Dylan, who was in the property at the time of the unalivings, along with Bethany, called all the roommates after she heard screaming and crying coming from the rooms. Now, what's interesting is that this is the part that I'm confused about, okay? Sister-in-law? I'm very confused about that. Like his brother was married? I mean, maybe he had an older, maybe he has a brother because he's one of triplets, right? And one's a boy and one's a girl. Sister-in-law? So I'm confused about that. Okay? That is not mathing to me. All right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Tony B. Thank you, Emily Biz. I was like, what is this? Is this his aunt? Like, are they talking about his aunt here? What the hell's going on here? Okay. But I appreciate the clarity. Thank you. I was like, where is this stepbrother coming from? I never knew about this extended half sibling. So thank you guys for for clarifying that. Alicia, thank you so much. All y'all, thank you so very much. I was wondering, like, what the hell was that? Right? So along with Bethany Funky, okay? She called all the roommates after she heard screaming and crying coming from the rooms. Now, one thing that I found very interesting on top of that, okay, is that that's not even in the affidavit. That piece of information, let me blow this up for you guys so you can see it in the nosebleed seats, but look at it again. It says she called all the roommates after she heard crying and screaming from the rooms. That's not in the affidavit at all. Now, there is a possibility, let's be real, there is a possibility for family members to know more details than anybody else because they are obviously extremely close to the case. Maybe there are conversations that Dylan is having with family members and giving them that piece of information. The other thing I want to point out too, real quick, the other part I want to say is too, never underestimate the power of latent memory. Okay? Like a recall of memory. Okay? Maybe during the interview when she was giving her piece, let's just say talking about Dylan only, she's giving her piece, she's telling all the stuff that's been going on, what happened, why she did this, and this, calling 911 after several hours of sitting there, chilling in the cut and all that stuff, right? There could have been stuff that came back in her head later on that maybe she did say to other family members or people that were around her, right? There is a possibility of that, right? She says one thing to the police, trying to recall as much as she can. Like, I want to give her as much as much of a benefit of the doubt as I can, right? Because let's be real, she also is a surviving victim of a terrible tragedy. Same thing with Bethany. But again, we haven't heard really much from Bethany, okay? We only have what they said, what Dylan told them in that probable cause affidavit. Hence the reason why there's such a focus and obsession about trying to understand why it took her several hours to call 911. And I have my theories, okay? And those are they're all speculatory, but at the same time, it might make sense. Now, when it comes to this new information about hearing screaming and crying coming from the rooms, one, that's huge. That's a huge piece of information, in my personal opinion. That's a surprise, right? Because one, that completely contradicts what was being said in the probable cause affidavit. Let's not forget that. There was 3 times that she went and opened up the door. One of them was because the dog was making noise. She thought maybe it was Kaylee messing around playing with the dog. I guess the floor above her or something like that. Then there was another time when she heard somebody say, "Don't worry, I'll take care of you." Something along the lines of that. And then the third time is when she crossed paths, literally, with the shadowy man in all black with bushy eyebrows. The bushy eyebrow man in black, right? 3 separate times. Not once was there ever anything said about screaming and crying coming from those victims' rooms. Okay. Now, one pushback I'll say on top of that, where I'm sitting there going, okay, let me give her the benefit of the doubt. I get it, so on and so forth. Maybe it's latent recall of memory and stuff. Then why hasn't that information been given to the police, and why isn't that in the probable cause affidavit? Think about all that. Because that's pretty damn interesting information to hear when you have somebody say, I heard screaming and crying from the rooms. Could that be one of the reasons why it caused her to go out, open up the door, and see what the heck was going on here? And then that's when she saw bushy eyebrows in black? Again, the math ain't mathing. First one just said, everything in that affidavit is subject to contradiction. Yes, of course. And now we are seeing that even more right now. But it's very strange, right? And this is coming from a member of the family. Ethan's sister-in-law that's sitting here saying, hey, why did it take you so long to call 911? Now, that could be inspired, okay? That could be inspired solely from the affidavit that they saw, or it could be inspired from the information that they independently have. Then the other thing is, why wouldn't they give us that information? Like, I feel it would be weird to hold back key pieces of information in that probable cause affidavit. They showed everything else for the most part, as far as cell phone pings, data, etc., blah blah blah, the knife sheath and all that. They went to town with all of that information. Why would they leave that piece of information out? To me, still seems a bit strange. And it does make me wonder, how credible is this piece of information here too? But let's continue. posting in a thread, because like I said, this is what they believed to be his sister-in-law on a Reddit chat room, I guess. Okay, so she posted in a thread on Reddit. She said, "D supposedly called all the girls in the house after the crying and screaming stopped, and no one answered, and she still didn't call the police." Now, I'm going to highlight that because that is huge. And of course, are we sure this is really the sister-in-law that posted this on Reddit? Really, though? Are we sure about this source? Okay. But hey, posting in a thread on Reddit, she said D supposedly called all the girls in the house after the crying and screaming stopped, and no one answered. And she still didn't call the police. That's crazy. But then I keep asking you, and I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, I got to ask the questions, y'all. This is what I do. Is this for real, though? I mean, it's shocking. It's shocking information. Like Bonnie Raitt winning Song of the Year at the Grammys. Okay. It's shocking, right? But still, if this is actually 110% credible, and if this really is the sister-in-law of Ethan Chapin, she obviously, and for a fact, the families have more information than we do, than us regular public civilians do. Okay. And yes, Susu, I heard that too, that this name and this account was supposedly verified. Okay. Janice just said it's a verified account, and before the gag order. Yeah, because that's the other thing too. I was like, why would she be saying this stuff right now when there's a gag order, right? So this had to have been out for a little bit before this gag order came out. Now, what's interesting too, again, still, no matter what, is that she called all the girls first and still didn't call the police afterwards. So let's go into this a little bit more. Yep, here it is. Yes, I will hope it will come out, and it will come out what D heard. D supposedly called all the girls in the house after the crying and screaming stopped, and no one answered, and she still didn't call the police. She needs to explain herself for her actions that night. Apparently, it's verified. Ethan's sister-in-law. Verified. You see it right there. Crazy. Crazy. Yep, she needs to explain herself and her actions that night. When questioned about who did call the police, she added 911 caller was the friend who went in because D called him to come over because she was scared from what she heard in the night. He went to, and this part, man, this part is just strange to me, babies. I'm telling you, this part is strange to me. He went to Xana and Ethan's room first, then called 911. Why D or B didn't call the police once is the question. Okay. The affidavit revealed that Mortensen or DM came face to face with a bushy eyebrowed monster, but was spared along with Funky. I think this Funky or Funk. Maybe it's Funk. DM told the police that she heard several scuffles throughout the night and opened her door where she saw a suspect dressed in all black with a mask covering his face and heard one of her housemates say, "There's someone here." She also heard the suspect say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," as he wandered the house, committing the atrocity. Police confirmed a 911 call was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates at 11:58 a.m. who requested help for an unconscious person, though it has not been confirmed who spoke to the police. It has raised the question of why DM didn't contact authorities sooner, with some arguing that she may have been frozen by fear. Now, we got to dissect this, okay? So let's take a look at this. All right? Very interesting. So, of course, 911 caller was the friend who went in because D called him to come over because she was scared of what she heard in the night. He went to Xana and Ethan's room first, then called 911. Now, that's the thing that doesn't make any sense. We've all heard so many different stories and so many different theories and all that, but at the same time, let's take a look at that. Does that make sense? Then it also makes you wonder, the van shoe print that was found by Dylan's room. Could that have been this friend's shoe print that showed up to walk in to make sure everything was okay, only to find this tragedy unfold in front of them? But you're telling me that this Dylan stayed in her room, did not do anything. She called her roommates first, which is understandable if you think about it, because if you're terrified out of your mind, okay, you see a random dark figure run out the house. God knows if there really was screaming and crying heard. We don't know, right? This is what we're hearing from a message that was posted on Reddit, okay? And they say it's verified, but I'm just saying, you got to ask these questions. You got somebody who posted this and saying all those things that went down. So I understand if she was absolutely frozen with fear, staying in her room, making phone calls and calling all of her friends. Oh, they might be asleep. Let me just wait a few more hours. That could be it. That could very well be it. I'm going to call all my friends. I'm going to call everybody I can as soon as the day breaks, as soon as the sun cracks from over the mountains, okay? As soon as day breaks, I'm calling. Okay? Let me call them. She starts calling her roommates. Still no answers. She's thinking the inevitable. She's thinking the most horrific things you can think of, right? She's terrified out of her mind. Yet she still calls sorority girls, allegedly. And of course, she still gets a hold of somebody, a guy. Okay? He comes in. He goes up to the second floor, finds Ethan and Xana in where they said that they were at. And then he calls 911 with her phone. Like I said, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I see Harsh Reality in the house. What's up, man? Everyone was screaming. There were thumps and then silence. I saw a guy dressed as a ninja leave my house. I'm calling my buddies for a chat. See, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like it just doesn't, like, the math is not mathing. And see, this is the frustrating part. This is what is angering me so much about this, okay? Because people are getting angry out here in these streets. Why do you think they're like, why? Wouldn't you expect people to be questioning these things? You're just going to take this as face value. Oh, yes, it is what it is. What she said is, it is what it is. No, it doesn't. It's not mathing correctly. It's not adding up, y'all. The equation is not doing what it needs to do. It's not carrying the one. It's not divisible by two. The math is not mathing. And the thing is this is not an attempt at trying to attack this young girl. Not at all. I'm looking at the timeline. I'm looking at the facts that have been given, and those things are not making any sense. Okay? Period. And now we're hearing different things, which is frustrating. Okay? Because we are, of course, we got the news out here throwing out all this stuff. Okay? Oh, we got new information about this, that, and the third, disturbing details of this, that, and the third. When we're not hearing this from law enforcement, nor will we hear it from them at all, because let's keep it real, there's a gag order, so they can't say nothing. But it is very interesting when you see all this information like displayed out in front of you, and you're going, okay, this needs to start to make sense. And the thing is that as you start to hear these pieces of information, this stuff could help BK. This could help exonerate this man. If we are so badly hell-bent on making it be this man, right? If he really is the guy, if he really is the monster, and the more BS that keeps getting thrown out here, man, this dude could walk out on reasonable doubt alone. Okay? Because we still have yet to have him placed in the room doing said act. Still, we don't have that. We still don't have that yet, y'all. We don't. But then we hear these pieces of the story, and I'm like, someone someone do the equation. Somebody who's, Albert Einstein. I need an Einstein in the house. Math this together. Okay? Because this feels like it's getting more complicated than the theory of relativity, for crying out loud. So somebody math this ish for me with the quickness, because I'm still scratching my head over this ish. And I don't blame people for feeling some type of way about the storyline, because we're all trying to make it make sense. And the other thing is too, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to sit here and go, oh, she's part of the plan. No, not at all. Not at all. Honestly, just like everybody else, we just want truth and transparency. That's all we want. But when we have something like this, it is still just, but let's continue. It's so frustrating, because I saw this the other day and I was like, I'm gonna sit on this one for a bit. I'm gonna sit on this for the day. And it just kept eating away at me. I'm like, man, no, we need to talk about this. Because I know people get upset about this, talking about her and sitting there going, how dare you? Don't do that. She's a survivor. I totally get that. But still, it's not mathing. And I in no way, shape, or form am trying to say that she is up to no good. But we need to get the story straight. And there's so many holes. But let's continue. All right. So, she said why D or B didn't call the police is the question. Or why they didn't call the police once is the question. That's what I'd like to know as well. Okay? Obviously, the affidavit released that revealed that DM came face to face with the bushy-eyebrowed monster, but was spared, along with BF. DM told the police that she heard several scuffles throughout the night. She opened the door where she saw the suspect dressed in all black with a mask covering his face, and heard one of her housemates say, "There's someone here." She also heard the suspect say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," as he wandered through the house. I'm assuming committing the atrocity. Police confirmed the phone call, 911 call, was officially made at basically noon. Okay. All these things happened around 4:20 a.m. Okay. Several hours. Okay. Several hours after this tragedy happened, that's when they called 911. Several hours. She called all of her friends that were in the house, the roommates. She called some other people. And then somebody came into the house to check in. And then a 911 call was made. It's very weird and very interesting. It has raised the question of why DM didn't contact authorities sooner, with some arguing that she may have been, quote unquote, frozen by fear. And that thing, let's be real, talking about being frozen by fear, that really can happen. Okay, that really can. I'm not sitting here saying that this is a far-fetched idea. There ain't no way she would ever be, doing that. And, no, everybody would just knee-jerk reaction, call 911. But I'll tell you this, though. Me, personally, I just know that if I have the phone in my hand and if I'm a teenager or, a college student, for a fact it's already attached to my body, this phone. It's like it's another appendage, for crying out loud. I'm calling 911 with the quickness. Cops were literally in a grassy knoll, just a little bit away, catching kids from underage drinking and stuff. Cops were in the area, okay? They were right there. They weren't far away at all, okay? They were not. So make that make sense. Harsh Reality even said that, yep. Yeah, man. You want to hop on, Harsh? If you're around, if you want to hop on, I'll send you, I can put the link in the chat. Holla at your boy, let me know. But yeah, she wasn't that frozen. She called friends. She really did call her friends. What about your friends? You know what I mean? She called her friends instead of calling 911. So see, this is the reason why people are so mad, okay? Or sorry, I guess I don't understand why people are so mad. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand why people are so mad with other people asking this question. And I do get it. Trauma is a real thing. It most definitely is. Okay? Shock, all that. You could be paralyzed by fear. Absolutely. When you're sitting there scared as hell, right? I get that. Just frozen with fear. I get that. But if you're frozen with fear, why are you calling other people from outside the house? Because I could see her calling the roommates just to see if they are gonna pick up alive and all that stuff, right? I could definitely see that, right? I could definitely see that. Her calling just to make sure, like, was my mind playing tricks on me that night? Was I really that drunk? Let me just call my friends to make sure that they're okay, because I'm scared and I don't want to leave this room right now. This is my sanctuary. This is my blanket. The door is my blanket. It's going to keep all the evildoers from coming in, right? I'm safe here. Let me call my friends really quick. Okay. Kaylee, Xana, Maddie. Maybe she gets a hold of Bethany. Maybe she says, don't go, get out of that room. Stay in that room. Somebody was here and I'm terrified. But then after that, instead of calling 911, she calls other friends. Then 911 call. Then a 911 was made. And it wasn't even her on the phone, from what the police have said. We saw that in that press conference a while back. So make it make sense. And yes, I don't think that it's that. Okay, Heather, I really don't. That's just the BS that's just the rumors. I'm not going to sit here and say it's BS. I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I hear it from police or hear it from an actual more reliable source, not just a voice on a phone. No disrespect to any of those people. Seriously, no disrespect. It's just hard to fully take that as truth when, I don't know. It's just hard to take that as truth. Okay? It really is, personally. All right? But again, as you see the math, if you're seeing this stuff, you see this information, let me show that to you again. You see the information in here, it just isn't mathing. I can see scared, frozen by fear, not calling calling the roommates in the house because you want to make sure everybody's okay. All right? I can see all that. But then you still don't call 911? Come on, man. That part doesn't make any sense. Okay? Nene or Nini? Nini Panini. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Welcome. I really do appreciate it. All right. I didn't know if I didn't see if Harsh said anything, but if he's down, if Harsh is down for hopping on, let me know if you're still listening. But yeah, some crazy stuff. So then, of course, it says DM. This is from the probable cause affidavit. Yeah, DM stated. Let me show this to you guys in a little bit bigger. But it says here, DM stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened the door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. Okay. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay. I'm going to help you." So we heard about to the effect that she heard something that she thought was like maybe Xana crying in her room. But the screaming part is kind of important. And that I don't remember seeing or reading in the probable cause affidavit. So that piece of information is kind of a big deal in my personal opinion, because that would automatically make it a dead giveaway that there was foul play going on, something terrible and something absolutely tragic was actually happening in that house, without a shadow of a doubt. But the roommate did not contact authorities for 6 hours, despite hearing several of her roommates in distress, as well as witnessing the monster. DM told police she was awoken around 4 a.m. by what sounded like victim Kaylee playing with her dog on the third floor. She said she looked out of the room but didn't see anything, looking again on the second occasion when she thought she heard Xana crying. DM stated she opened the door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered his mouth and nose walking towards her. After the man moved towards her, she said she remained in a frozen shock phase as he continued past her, but he let her survive. Okay, and of course, the online discussion has dissected where the remains were found, with the relative adding that both Xana and Ethan were found in her room. And this is, I guess, it's the mom. So then here it is in the probable cause affidavit here too. DM stated she opened the door for the third time after she heard crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing with a mask walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room. Now, I understand this. initial reaction is when you see something like that, right? When you see somebody attack, or like when you see someone that you've never seen before in your house, all in black, suddenly just walk right by you. You've heard crying, you've heard maybe a scuffle, something, you heard some thumps, okay? I get it. You see a guy in all black and you're freaking out, instantly slam the door. That's what I would do too. I'd be like, oh my God, what was that? What was that? Locking the door, frantically trying to find a way to, let's just say, save your own butt. Okay, you go into survival mode, basically in a way, right? But still, you not calling 911. I'm sorry. It just, I get calling the roommates in the house. I get that. That makes total sense to me. That makes total sense to me. Calling your friends in the house to make sure that you aren't tripping, because she may have been tripping. You never know, okay? Or may have been super drunk. You know, it's college. It's the weekend, baby. You know they're getting turned up. So what are the chances of her going, wait a second, was that real? Slamming the door shut. Let me make sure. Calling the friends. None of them are picking up. And then after you not hearing from them, you don't call 911? I don't know. It's so strange. It's strange. Again, I'll sit here and say, hey, maybe she called all the roommates. None of them picked up because if everything was silent, right? It was a dead silence in that house, right? What if she said, okay, and this is just speculation, just throwing this out here. What if she said, well, they're not answering right now. Maybe I'll wait a couple hours. Maybe I'll wait, like I said earlier, maybe I'll wait till the sun comes up and I'll call them again. You know, maybe they're just in a deep sleep. That could be it too, but I don't know. You saw a random dude in your house. You're terrified out of your mind. You call the roommates. They don't pick up. But still, instead, you are still able to use the phone. You're not frozen. Frozen shock phase is not happening because you're still calling the roommates. Then you end up calling other people to come to your rescue instead of calling 911. I don't know, man. Instead of calling 911, man, I'm sorry, the math ain't mathing to me. Still, I'm sorry. And we could put trauma into this and all that all day long. Okay? Oh, wow. That's interesting information. Hold on real quick, guys. Let me get to the super chat in just 2 seconds, but that is interesting information. It looks like it's a wrap with the Aiden Fucci. Wow. He just pled guilty. Twisted Teen Aiden Fucci. This is breaking right now. Aiden Fucci pleads guilty to the unaliving of the cheerleader classmate 13 by attacking her over 114 times, and now faces a minimum of 40 years in prison. New photos show boy with scratches on his body after his arrest. Wow, guys, breaking right now, or at least breaking within this article. Okay, but that's new information. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that in a little bit, but let's get back into that. But that's interesting breaking information. Aiden Fucci has pleaded guilty. So now that young boy, that young monster, is going to be seeing the inside of a prison cell for a very, very long time. Okay? So that's some interesting information, guys. But back into this conversation, though, because I will probably do that as a quick pop-up, that information about Aiden Fucci, okay? So be on the lookout for that video. But when it comes to this, okay, when it comes to Dylan, when it comes to this situation, it's absolutely, it's terrifying. It's heartbreaking what she had to go through, period. She still survived an absolute mind-blowing tragedy, and we need to be respectful of her. It's understandable to ask these questions. It's not disrespectful to ask logical questions on something that we don't know fully everything about. If there are holes in her story, or if there's holes in this probable cause affidavit, if there's holes in any of this stuff, it is not disrespectful to ask the questions. When you start accusing people of something, when you start accusing, let's just say, DM of something like, oh, she was a part of it or something like that, that is wrong. That is disrespectful, because there's nothing right now that shows proof of that being what it is. I feel like it's totally okay to ask the proper questions that need to be answered, which is, why did it take you so long? And why wasn't it you that called 911? Not once did you think of calling 911. That's strange. That's absolutely odd. Doesn't mean anything else other than that. It's just odd. Now, Melissa, thank you. Wilkerson, thank you so much for the 10. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I used to be the one that didn't like questioning DM's intentions by wanting so long to call the police. Oh, by waiting so long to call the police. But the more I hear about this, the more I question it myself. Something ain't right. Yes. Now, ain't right could mean 7 billion different things, y'all. It could mean so many different things. It could mean what some people are taking it, which is foul play. Some people are taking it to, it was a trap house and she had things in there that she wanted to get rid of before they got the police involved. But then at the same time, why would it take them why would it take them several hours to get rid of party favors, for lack of a better term? Okay. Why would it take them 7 hours? That doesn't make any sense. Unless they were doing some weird deep clean of the entire place. But that still doesn't make any sense. You see what I'm saying, guys? Like if they just had some party favors, pack those things up in a bag and send it to the next door neighbor. You know what I mean? Or send it with one of the frat boys or something like that. Some kid that you can trust, and kick rocks, whatever. But several hours it took them to do something like this? That's why I say trap house, I don't think so much. You know? Unless it was a deep clean. But that still does not make any sense. Okay? But several hours to call 911. She even didn't call 911 to begin with. Then there's the other theory of what if she encountered BK and maybe he threatened her life. Maybe it wasn't just a walking by situation. What if he said, "You call, I'll come back." That could have been it too. But again, I don't know. That's just me going into speculation, into the speculation land that we all love to go to. But I feel also too that the 911 call, if we actually could get our hands on the actual 911 call that was made, I feel like that would actually answer a little bit of this conversation. But still, not one 911 call was made until about noon. And that part just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't. Ethan's mother has also urged those affected by the tragedy to instead look ahead as the suspect makes his way through the courts. Stacey Chapin said that nothing has changed since BK's arrest, and the mourners should direct their anger elsewhere. It comes after sources told News Nation that Xana fought back against her attacker and repeatedly grabbed the knife used in the attacks. Now, we already know that she fought back. I can't really go into the gruesome details because the powers that be don't like us talking about those gruesome details. But you guys have already seen that in a previous video I did, a previous live I did after News Nation or Ashley Banfield did a whole live giving us these details, these new details about how Ethan and Xana were found. And you can tell, or you heard, that Xana was fighting back. She put up one hell of a fight. One hell of a fight. And I keep wondering if she did fight hard, if there's DNA under her nails, right? Or left on her body somewhere. Because if she was putting up a fight, there's got to be something more than just, just these injuries that she received throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's just something to think about. But real quick, I see a bunch of you guys in here, a whole bunch of souls in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button down below. That would really mean a lot. Send it past 800 likes. That would be dope as hell. That would be dope as hell. Okay? Hit that like button down below. And of course, if you like the conversation, I talk about a lot of things on this show. Everything from pop culture to true crime to controversy to celebrity interviews, you name it. We talk about it all right here on The Pascal Show. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. We in the 90s now, y'all. We in the 90s. We're almost towards the 100,000. We're working our way towards it, and I can't wait. So please consider hitting that subscribe button and being a part of The Pascal Show family. All right, man, the 90s are nice. This is like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, living single. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate all y'all for being here and supporting this channel as much as you guys can. But again, we have obviously seen and heard a lot of these details, right? A lot of gruesome details about what happened to the four that lost their lives. But one thing that we don't know really is what happened with Dylan and with Bethany. Now let's talk about Bethany for a second. Bethany is out in the clear, y'all. Bethany is most definitely just out in the clear. Do you realize how lucky Bethany has been recently? She's been flying under the radar. She is a surviving roommate, but she's not getting all the same questions as Dylan is. No one's asking any questions about from Bethany. But you want to know why? It's because we don't know anything. She hasn't said nothing. Maybe there is nothing to be said. Maybe she was asleep. Maybe she was passed out. Kicked it, drank her face off, did whatever, right, that night, and was out. Hit the bed, passed the F out, right? But even in the affidavit, nothing has been said about Bethany. Not about the night. Maybe about, Xana and Ethan were at this frat party and Kaylee and Maddie went off to the corner club bar down the street. That's it. Okay? That's it. We don't hear anything of her account. Nothing. Not I heard some scuffling, I heard this, that, and the third, or I heard some crying and screaming, whatever it is. We have heard nothing of her account at all, if there really is one, right? If there really is one. But we have yet to hear anything from her. She's in the clear right now. She is flying right under the radar. No one's asking any questions about Bethany. And I'm not sitting here saying, let me get a hate mob going towards her or something like that. Let's get all this bad juju towards her and all that. No, not saying that at all. All I'm trying to say is we have heard nothing of her account. Within this probable cause affidavit that we've all read, we all have read it, okay? There's nothing in there that talks about her account at all. Her perspective, what she was doing, what she heard, what she didn't hear, so on and so forth. We saw nothing in those affidavits, in that affidavit about her. And we don't know. Maybe there's some information she does know. You see what I'm saying? And she may know some stuff, y'all. But I do get it. That we're all focused. We're all super hella focused on Dylan because of what she gave, her account. And then, of course, we see the holes within her account, which is like, what? Wait a second. This tragedy happened. You saw the man. And yet you didn't call 911 not once. Like that didn't even cross your mind. It is strange, guys. I'm sorry. I know there's people, content creators out here that are trying to, like, as much as they can, tell people to back off on the Dylan stuff. But you can't help but ask the questions because it's just there in your face. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no way you can sit here and just let this roll without you going, but that should I want to say so you know what I mean? You can't help but look at this and go, math ain't mathing at all. And I'm not saying foul play. I am not saying that she's involved. No. Let me see that evidence before we even go there. There are some people out here in these streets that are trying to make it seem like, oh, she was involved and all that. Whoa. Time out. Pause. I am not a part of that team and that theory. Not at all. Okay. But there's a lot in here that doesn't make sense. Charlie Miller, thank you so much for the 5. Even though 80s was my decade, let's get to 100K for Pascal. He working hard in these streets. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're working our way towards it. For sure. We're working our way towards it for sure. Okay? And it's going to be a glorious, glorious celebration when we get to 100,000 subscribers. That's going to be amazing. Okay? But still, sorry, I'm just reading your comments. Hold on. Where did that one go? Bernice just said this. Bernice Riva. Hello, Bernice. Said, yeah. Voices travel through vents, though. That's true, too. Okay? That's very, very true. And they said that the house had very thin walls and all that stuff. So for a fact you're hearing, people moving around, people talking, people knocking the boots. You know what I'm saying? You're hearing all that stuff. People arguing, people playing video games, people, just moving around, shuffling about. If a dog barks or does his thing, you're going to hear that stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Even, if it's hardwood floors, you're going to hear his paws scraping on the hardwood floor as he's walking around and stuff. You're going to hear all those things, right? So it just, we need more. Okay? Obsessed for Disneyland. Preach it, Pascal. I appreciate the constant need for critical thinking while always keeping an eye towards justice. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you for saying that. And yes, because the thing is the math is still not mathing. But I will not sit here and say, oh, this girl's involved and she's an evildoer. Nah, I will not say that. There could be shock, concern, and absolute fright that came from this girl. Absolutely, that could happen. But you're still calling friends outside of the house, not the ones that are in the house, but outside of the house before you actually call 911. And when you have something bad happen in your house and you don't know what's going on the outside and you're scared out of your wits, instantly you're calling. I just feel that's the knee-jerk reaction. You're calling 911. You don't forget to call 911 in your head. You're going, let me call the cops, right? Let me call cops. 911. Boom. Emergency. I think there's someone in my house and I don't know what to do. That's what you do. But she didn't do that. And the thing is that it wasn't her that actually, this is from what we're understanding. It wasn't her that actually made the phone call. The 911, the initial 911 call, it was someone else using her phone to call 911. Then also at the top of that, let me ask this too. I'm just going to ask it. And it may piss y'all off. I don't care. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Why did homeboy who came in to check in all this stuff, look in the rooms and all that stuff, why did he call 911 on her phone? Why? Why did she call 911? Why did he call 911 on her phone? Think about it for a second, y'all. Does that make sense? He got a phone because obviously that's how she was able to reach him, right? Dylan called somebody to come through in the house because she was scared out of her mind, right? He picked up some phone. It's not like she sent a falcon with a scroll tied to its talons and flew over to the friend, around the way, and he just, caught the falcon and got the scroll and came to see her. No, he got a phone call. So he had a functioning phone. Why did he call 911 on her phone? That doesn't make sense either. It don't make sense, y'all. Somebody make that make sense, baby. She didn't send a falcon, okay? She didn't send no pigeons clapping at pigeons like we in the hood or something, okay? Like this is training day, just clapping pigeons. Real talk. He had a phone. So why did he call 911 on her phone? Somebody help me. Come on, man. I'm just saying. Somebody do this for me. How does that work? Okay? I'm real talk, man. I'm talking, man. Ain't no pigeons. You know what I'm saying? So what's up with that? Susu just said that is a great question. Exactly. And I'm not sitting here saying foul play. I suspect foul play. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that. But that is a weird piece of information. These are pieces that don't make sense. How did the phone suddenly get in his possession where he ended up calling the 911 call, making the initial, finally, the first and only 911 call made? How did that phone get in his possession? How did he get the phone in his hand? He has a phone of his own. I'm sure it was in his mother-loving pocket. So why didn't he just grab the phone? You see what I'm saying? From his own phone, from his own pocket. Why? Sorry, I'm just reading your comments. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Okay. And then that's the other thing too. Somebody just said 2 cents. Thank you for giving me your 2 cents. But yeah, who is he? That's what 2 cents just said. Who is he? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'd like to know. Who is he too? 2 cents. Who the is he? So that's the thing. Weird. Roberta just said something that was interesting because he didn't want the cops checking his call history. That's very interesting theory. I will say that, Roberta. That's an interesting theory. Or maybe, I don't know, to make it not look suspicious that she didn't call 911. I don't know, too. Like I said, it just doesn't make any sense. And Jazzy, hold on, I just missed that. Jazzy said, Dylan might be severely shaken up, as I said, due to past trauma. Now, that's the thing, Jazzy Boop. First off, thank you so much for the comment on YouTube. But let me say this, though. That could very well be what it is, right? It could very well be what that is, right? It could be past trauma. Could be just, you never know what you'll do when you're just terrified out your wits, clearly. But then you look at everything else and you're going, but I don't know. That is a part that doesn't make sense. It's just a part that doesn't make sense. Again, I feel that we are quick to go into the defense, which is totally understandable, but there are things that are still being brought up that still are not equating properly. You could still look at this and say that she may have fallen asleep. You can put that in consideration too. You got to remember these kids were probably lit, so she's terrified. She's fell asleep, something like that. But again, it is not wrong for the people who are like watching this and have been keeping a close eye on this story. It is not wrong for people to have these specific questions. But no, I do not think that she has any involvement in any of this in that kind of way. It's just the lack of knee-jerk response that I think would initially happen, that we would all naturally do, that did not transpire here. And that's weird too. The other thing I also want to point out is, and this could be also this too, what if she was high as hell? High as hell, just high, right? And she needed to come down from her high. Those things don't just, I mean, I understand getting like sober, you know what I mean? Moments that just sober you up with the quickness. But this type of thing, you never know. She may have needed some time to sober up. And that takes time. So we can put that into consideration too. But still, I still just don't understand why somebody else had the phone, her phone, to call 911. And why that was 7 hours, 6+ hours later. That piece just is still bothering me in my brain, okay? That one's just still eating away at me. But of course, we're only going to know more. I feel like a lot of the truth is going to be on display during this trial. And it's not far from here. The trial's not far away. It'll be coming very, very soon. Trust, okay? It'll be coming, all right? Girl of the Valley, thank you so much for the 2. She said, high like a falcon with a scroll. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Just high. And she could have just been like, yo, I am too high. I'm just whacked out of my mind. Like, I'm out my mind. And I don't need cops coming in here with me looking like me this high. I could get arrested for just being high on God knows what. Maybe. Or she was just extremely intoxicated. I don't know. But we have to have these questions. These questions have to be eventually answered. But I feel like the only time we're going to get the answers is when we see this trial unfold. And if she actually goes and ends up taking the stand, she might not. You got to remember too, the defense can make a meal out of her. They could literally just eat her up during this trial. Does she want to do that? I don't know. Right? She will be a star witness, right? If she decides to take the stand. But God only knows what the defense has up their sleeve against her too. So that's some scary stuff. I'm sure she's nervous as hell, right? This is a stressful time for this young woman. And I think we should try to be as respectful as we can to this young woman and to the other surviving victims of this tragedy. Because again, we have heard nothing from Bethany. And there's some information here that could literally connect. Like there could be some more information that they did not give out that has to do with Bethany. That maybe puts him in the same place, puts him in this place. But we don't know. All we know, the only people that know the truth are these surviving victims, the monster that did this, and God. Okay? That's the only people that know anything of how this whole thing really went down. Nini Panini, thank you so much for the 5. I appreciate it. My daughter is beautiful and smart, but no common sense. So maybe DM. That could be it too. We're all young, dumb. We all have been young and dumb. We've all been that. And that could be it too. Nini, that's a good point. We can always put into consideration just being young, inexperienced, naive. You also got to remember this too. You can also just be high or just jacked up and not even think about 911. You ever seen somebody so drunk they forget their first name? Or like they're so drunk they forget like something that they should already like really know? You feel me? Those things do happen. I've seen people that drunk, or that messed up. And we don't even know if she was even drunk or messed up. I'm just putting those pieces into consideration because anything's possible. But I mean, still, I don't know. Still, common sense. Like there's young and just no common sense. Fully, I get that, but when something that drastically bad happens and no call to 911 even happens, I don't know. Until several hours later, and I could see someone being shocked out of their minds. Let's not forget that we have seen people shocked out of their minds, and I've seen it where the person's like just in a, like what they said, a shock phase, like a frozen shock phase, where they're just standing there. They have the phone in their hand, but they see this tragedy unfolding in front of them, and somebody has to scream at them to shake them out of it to call 911. So I've actually seen that actually happen, where it's like, and somebody goes, call 911. They're like, oh my God, yeah. Because they forget, right? Completely just, mind is gone. It's almost like they shut off, right? That could be it too. But like I said, it's still something that we may not ever really truly know until this trial. And then again, we may never even know the truth even then too. We got to put that into consideration too. It's terrible. It's terrible information. But I will say this. If there's any more information, we will be talking about it here. Okay? All right. But of course, if more information comes out, I will talk about it. All right. We'll see. All right. We will see. Okay. But I appreciate every single last one of y'all in here for being here and being part of the conversation. Because I got so many questions, y'all. I got so many questions, and we have every right to ask these questions, y'all. When you start hearing other family members sitting there allegedly saying these things, okay, damn right. It's like, wait a second, let's do the math here. Is the math mathin'? Is it really mathin' and all? That's it. That is it. So we'll see what happens. Okay? But I appreciate all y'all for being here. It's been a great conversation. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Hit that like button down below. And do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. All right. It'd be greatly appreciated. All right. But you guys have a wonderful one. All right. You guys have been awesome. It does mean a lot. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. Okay. All right, y'all. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Oh, hold up. Let me do that really quick. Obsessed for Disneyland. Thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. I really do appreciate it. All right, guys. It's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next video. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.